and welcome to the Editorial. I'm joined today by Zach Michaelis, our Editor-in-Chief, who's going to once again try and defend some of the questionable decisions we've made recently. Yeah. Or in your view, the correct decisions, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
So what have we got to atone for this week?
So, I mean, as regular, the 5 regular viewers will know, the way this works is I essentially just go through all the videos in the last 2 weeks or since we last did the editorial. I look at their like-dislike ratios, and if they are conspicuously low, so below like 96.5, that normally indicates that something's gone wrong with the video, and I go ahead and apologise for it. And I also, if there's anything that I've noticed that we did wrong, independent of the like-dislike ratio, I'll also mention that and apologise for that. So I think we did our last editorial on the August 25th, and actually since then I think we have only had 2 videos, maybe only 1 video, that have fallen below the threshold.
Pretty good.
So we have one on 96.5 and one on 95.2 or something like that. I'm excluding business for the moment because that's Jack's thing, and I don't have much role in that, so I can't really apologise for it. But then on top of that, we have one where I made a silly mistake, and it's worth mentioning. So there's 3 videos today. That's it, which is amazing. I think the last time was 16 videos.
Yes.
So it's going to be a nice quick episode. So the first one to talk about is on UK, and it's the How to Fix Brexit Without Rejoining the EU video. It has a 96.5, which is not very low. I think actually people's main opposition here was that they thought that they basically disagreed with the idea that we shouldn't join the EU. There are mostly people saying, oh, we should join the EU, and that you can't fix Brexit without getting back into the EU. Yeah. And I'm sort of sympathetic for that take. It's not necessarily wrong. I don't think that contradicts the content of the video itself. I mean, the video quite explicitly goes through the reasons why it's politically very difficult to rejoin not just the EU, but also EFTA. I think there are good reasons to think that rejoining the single market in any form is politically, maybe not unfeasible, but at least difficult.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that was the main issue. I don't think there's anything substantial here. There's any point of detail that we got wrong. But the last thing I'd say is that anyone who's interested in that sort of video, that sort of content, the book that we sort of cite at the start of that video is really, really good for it. So it's Peter Foster, How to Fix Brexit. I think, what went wrong with Brexit? And it's really interesting. And if you want to do some more reading, there's some stuff by a guy called Anton Spisak at the Tony Blair Institute who does a lot of this about how far could you tinker with the current withdrawal agreement to sort of make Brexit better. And there's a massive academic dispute on this. So some people do think, it's tinkering around the edges is just not enough. It's not going to do anything. If you want to fix it, you've got to rejoin the single market.
Do you think that was you taking an editorial line then and saying that there is a way for us to fix Brexit without rejoining the EU, and that was the line being pushed, and some people disagreed with that editorial line?
Maybe in tone, but not actually in substance. I don't think I say this is sufficient. What I say is here are some things you could do. All I would say is that I think I don't think I made a mistake there. I don't think there was necessarily too partisan in either direction there.
Yeah.
But I think I'm still made a mistake in that I spent too long talking about why it was pretty difficult to rejoin the single market or rejoin the EU. I think I should have just dived straight in to the different little things that we could do, tinkering around the edges, because there's quite a lot to say there. I mean, it's quite boring and it's quite niche, because you're talking about equivalence agreements and sanitary and phytosanitary checks, and all these various other little sort of security arrangements. And that's quite niche and a bit in the weeds. But I still think the content of the video should have just been more focused on that.
Sure. Okay.
At least I would have liked it in retrospect.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the UK. Nothing else on UK. Was any controversy there? Going on to global. I think actually I'm going to mention, we're going to do 4 videos because there's 2 on global that I like to talk about very quickly. The first, because it's super quick, is the Libya video, which came out today, which has a 96.9. It's still pretty high. And people basically pushing back against the idea that it was plausible that Libya might split in 2. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there are reasons it's plausible. Maybe we slightly overstate the case. I mean, the comments that were sort of reported by General Haftar, he never actually made that speech in the end. So he was clearly only flirting with the idea. And maybe in that sense we overstate that. There's also some sort of like debate about whether or not it's historically accurate to say that Libya was previously 3 regions. I did a bit of reading into this before the Italians colonized it. I did a bit of reading into this. There's no consensus here to my mind. I mean, historians just do disagree on how to best characterize the region pre-colonization. But so I think we don't necessarily make any mistakes there. But I'm sympathetic to the idea that it was a bit quick on something that's so controversial as Libya splitting in 2, and the history that is so nuanced.
Sure.
But that's the nature of an 8-minute video in some sense. But nonetheless, it's an apology there. I think they could have been a bit better, I guess, in some ways. And the other one is the Vivek Ramaswamy video. Context, we did a video just on Vivek Ramaswamy, whether or not he can beat Trump. Has a dislike of 95.2. Again, I don't think the content is wrong here in any respects.
So what was the actual take then? Was it that he couldn't beat Trump, presumably?
Yeah, the take was that, and I think this is the thing that people were pointing out in the comments, no, he can't beat Trump, no, he's not trying to beat Trump. And that's fair. I mean, the title does suggest that we're asking that question, but in the video itself, we do answer that question, and we concur with those commenters, and we say, no, he can't beat Trump, and he's almost definitely playing the long game here. He's trying to make a name for himself in Republican politics. And he's doing that very well, to his credit.
Do you reckon he'll be chosen as vice?
I think there's some reports that that's not happening, but I couldn't tell you precisely.
Just trying to get more things on the record for us to then correct at the next editorial.
And I also think obviously he's a controversial character, it's a controversial topic,
Sure.
So that sort of brings down the base dislike. And then the last thing we are going to mention is the pretty recent video on EU, which is, are Europeans really becoming more right-wing? Yeah, so I think there are basically 3 things here, and I think we should apologise for 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first is that we made a mistake about the Sweden Democrats. The Sweden Democrats are the biggest party backing the government, but they are not in the government. They have a sort of deal with the governing coalition. They will back them in exchange for coalitions, like a supply and confidence agreement.
Yeah.
We did make that mistake, so that's our bad. We have to apologise for that. The other mistake, this is not a mistake, but some people push back against the fact that we'd done a Europe shifting right video not very long ago, although specifically in the context of the European Parliament elections, and some people were saying, you're sort of rehashing our content, and I am super sympathetic to that. I've got to say, when I wrote this video, I did forget that we had released that video earlier, and I think ideally I would have liked to just release 1 video on this, but that's my bad. I forgot that we released a previous one, so sorry for that as well. And the last one that people push back against is it's a classic sort of point of contention in the comments. They don't like the characterization of Europe moving right. They say that it's more to do with, for example, becoming more anti-establishment.
Sure.
Or they say something on the lines of the centre-left is failing in Europe or something like that. And, we at least, we talk about that at the end of the video. We say, it might actually be more accurate to say that this is more of an anti-establishment tilt than necessarily like a right-wing tilt. So I don't think I have anything to apologise for there.
Yes.
So I think that is literally it, by the way. I think
no apologies today.
No, a couple of apologies. Maybe I should have made more of the apologies. I don't know if they came too quick there. But I think actually it was actually a pretty uncontroversial fortnight for us.
Yeah. There's a couple small, minor sort of
we did also make a tiny mistake on the Estonia video.
Yes.
But we pinned a comment on that. So
I think I've got one thing from things that I do that I do need to talk about very quickly, which was
No, I'm excited.
Yesterday, the daily briefing. It was one of those.
Oh yeah.
And we got quite a lot of comments, quite a lot of angry comments about this, which was that it was that North Korea might be supplying Russia with ammunition, and just from writing, I didn't. Just one of those things where I just sort of wrote and didn't really think it through, and I put the US instead of Russia.
Yeah.
And somebody in the comments did say you properly, like in Anchorman Ron Burgundy, just read what's on the auto cue, and I did do that.
Yeah.
So I'll
you
hold
do
my
do
hands
that
up
as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know. If it's on the auto cue, I will read it.
No.
That is how
it's
that works.
Good. It absolves you of responsibility.
Unless I wrote it as well, which I did do. So it doesn't entirely absolve me in this situation, but usually it does. But yeah, so
So nice.
There you go.
Yeah, that was a satisfyingly quick editorial.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Well, hopefully it'll be just as quick next time.
Yeah,
Nothing
hopefully.
to apologise for. It's going to be a flawless few weeks. And we'll be back here saying nothing. It'll be great.
That'd be great. God, that'd be satisfying. Okay, there we
All
go.
right. Thanks, Zach.